Well, hello again, and welcome to Tower for Our Times. It sure is Tarot for Our Times, and the focus tonight is going to be on RFK Jr. and his wanting to, and his halting research on COVID, long COVID, anything that's a disease he doesn't want to know about. And one of the reasons I picked this is it's kind of a personal, close thing to me because I'm just recovering from COVID now. Still, I'm a lot better, but not quite back there yet. And it is a concern because I have been suffering from long COVID since my last bout in the one before in Christmas of 22. So I am kind of concerned that I'm getting another case of COVID on top of still pretty much recuperating. And so at any rate, and of course they tell me at the hospital that they really don't know that much. I mean, we do all the tests with the heart and everything. They don't know this much. Fortunately, as I was listening to another video today, and I heard a case of a young woman, much younger than I am, who has long COVID, and she's in a wheelchair. I mean, it's very serious, but she contracted it. I think in 2020, probably in the fall, and it was before the vaccine came out. So I'm grateful that I have been vaccinated because I think I could have ended up like her without that. So, and that really is unfortunate. So I feel a lot for someone like that, and that's why I think it's really terrible that he's halted research on that. So, I really want to see what's kind of ticking with him because you know, this guy has a very strange history with and his family just they don't want to have anything to do with him. He was addicted to heroin for quite a number of years, and I know alcoholism and addictions is not a stranger to the Kennedy family. His uncle Ted did live out the rest of his. He did. Guess he got sober sometime in the 90s, and he lived out the rest of his life clean and sober. But I don't know if there's going to be such a happy ending for this one. So I want to take a look at him and see kind of like what sort of makes him tick. And that's going to be the longer part of the reading. I will do a couple of short ones because I'm concerned that without research and bird flu and measles has finally, I mean, it's all over Texas. But just this past week, I heard that measles has made it a few cases into western Pennsylvania, and school isn't out yet. And I remember as a kid when I got it, I mean, I think the whole school would be out with it. So I'm concerned about that. And I also want to do a quickie reading on the long-term consequences of his halting this research. I will see if the cards say something about this, but one thing I've learned in my own recovery from fellow friends who have gotten degrees in addiction counseling, and I guess it's not too surprising that heroin addiction is the most relapse prone of all of them. So, and many people have been clean for years and years, and they are more vulnerable to a big slip than, say, alcoholic or, you know, someone recovering from cocaine or, that sort of thing. So, and I want to take a look at maybe how there is a lot of denial with addiction, and his philosophy of, well, if we don't research it, then it doesn't exist, which I would say probably goes back to his many years of using heroin. And so it kind of, he may be clean, but I have a lot of very serious doubts about his recovery, um, and also about his mental capacity, because that drug takes a toll on one's brain, and I'm wondering why. Well, of course, when you look at who appointed him, that's a very bad choice for someone to be someone with a history like that. And apparently his ex-wives, I think one of them committed suicide. Of course, this is for entertainment press, so I want to take a look on that dynamic. But he could certainly bring about another tower, and you'll see how I put him in the tower in the thumbnail. So I'm going to keep it to a couple decks. Now with this deck, what I've done, I kind of got inspired by Hogarth, is that some decks of the tarot are very, let's say they're very anatomical, and I've been trying to cover up some vital parts with my finger when I show them on the screen. But as in my quest for getting more viewers, I'm trying to do everything I can to not have them get upset about what I'm doing. So I did clothe some of these figures, the lovers, the devil, the star, the cards like that. This deck here, I never realized it until I started going through it to see if I needed to do a little artwork. All of those are clothed. Every single one has a nice, drapey robe on it. And I thought, that's funny how I never noticed that before. But at any rate, I'm trying to do what I can to get more views, and I thought, well, maybe that will help, because I know people get barred or demonetized and I'm trying to get there in that for the most bizarre reasons. But at any rate, as I shuffle these babies up, so let's see. What does I want to do a reading on what RFK's psyche and history has to do with all of this crazy stuff with the disease denial and the anti-vaxxing stuff and all this sort of thing. I thought it was mainly the anti-vaxxing, but that's only a small part of it. So let's see what's going on. Let's go tread that ground. Scary thought, but somebody's got to do it. Okay. So where we are, oh boy. I did insert this in the deck. And here we are coming up with it, but it's the Tower in reverse. So I have a number of meanings, but the meaning I choose to take with this guy here is that while it is not as devastating as the Tower upright, the important thing about this is that someone involved with crises in their lives, they're doing the same thing over again. They don't learn the lesson from the mini tower, and they go on and do the same thing, and voila, they run into another tower. So, which is actually very much of the addicts. That's very typical with addicts. And I understand he had a number of relapses before he. I don't know how much time he's got now. I guess it's a number of years, but as I've said, because it's heroin, he's more vulnerable to relapse just from that fact. Okay, so we've got the Tower in reverse. So, and this could be disastrous because as he keeps going from one to another, they start to grow into intensity until it gets upright, and then bam, all hell breaks loose. So energetically, we've got the Wheel of Fortune, which is about karma. And even if it's upright, in this context, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good thing and that he's going to hit the lottery or something like that. It's the wheel is turning and he goes turning to the next crisis, that sort of thing. And sometimes, a lot of times with addicts, being a crisis junkie, it's kind of like the substitute for the adrenaline stuff with the drugs. Okay, so going underneath that, the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles reversed. So, I'm going to say that this represents what he's lost in his mental and his physical health over the years. And, oh boy, here we go. Then the Devil. See, I put little bathing suits on them. Okay, so we've got the Devil, which is pretty much in reverse, which is saying that he, with all of this going on, as soon as he dropped out of the presidential race, he became very vulnerable to getting involved with the Trump campaign. And in this context, I would say that the Devil in reverse is saying that he had a choice to not go there. But I would say that a part of the psyche is that it's very likely he is addicted to the excitement that of all the drama of such a regime. So it doesn't surprise me that that's the direction that he would go. And also it's like the major codependency thing with that, which I highly suspect for entertainment purposes only, that he may have gotten rid of the drugs, but I don't think he got rid of that, because I think if somebody wants to correct me, that's fine, but I think he had some marriages that really went down the toilet even after he got himself clean and sober. Okay. Oh, more of my art world. So here we have the World in reverse, which is telling me that there's a lot of the stuff in his past that's unfinished business, and it really really has to do with his addiction. So trying to put this in the context of about what he's doing now, it really goes to I would say that the big thing is with the codependence and the unfinished business is the major denial that he has formulated, and I think this has become from lower brain capacity. He's formed these ideas and considers himself a real expert, but he really doesn't know a whole lot. So okay, so in opposition, oh, interesting. Now we have the Page of Pentacles upright. So this is and this is another thing, I've probably said this before on these videos, is that when a person, unless they get some real serious recovery, they really remain the emotional age that they were when they started using and drinking. And that continues into sobriety unless they deal with the old issues. So this is a pretty young guy here, as you can see. So, and he started young. I think he was in his teens or something like that, very young. So that's where he is emotionally, and that's kind of. But see, the thing is, the Pentacles could represents health as well as money. So what we've got going here is that he's saying, I am now a big expert in matters of health, and that is the message that I'm going to give you. Quite interesting. So in the past, we have the Two of Wands in reverse. And I want to go back to one of the days when he was an environmental attorney. And what this is telling me is that he's saying, well, I didn't see much future for real fame and fortune, and the other family members were getting more attention than I was. So maybe I need to go on to something a little bit more dramatic than that. So this is what this has to say. So, conscious thoughts. Oh, here. Consciously, look at me. I have this position. I can give and I can take. I giveth and I taketh away. So, for someone as dysfunctional as he is, this is a whole thing with the personal power of really being able to make these decisions, because he's not going to get any opposition from the wackadoodle at the top. So, and this is about throwing a few crumbs to the peasants. And also, this kind of messes up with our health insurance and all kinds of things on the money end. So, he loves to have that power. That's very conscious. So, I guess he thinks if he just keeps people sick. So, well, let's see what we have on the subconscious level. Subconscious level is, well, I live, this is a really entitled thing, is that interesting, he could be part of a family where the majority of his cousins and his uncles and aunts and all this sort of thing, they're kind of like, we're very fortunate that we were born into the wealth, so it's time for us to give it back and be of service. With him, I'm getting this sense of entitlement. I mean, I think apparently he, from what I understand, he started to use fairly young, and it all led back at his father's assassination. But I have to tell you, he's got a whole ton of siblings that didn't go that route. That they're this is like the, I would say, a deep subconscious feeling of entitled victimhood, and that somehow the money, you notice this woman she's in this protective wall and garden, that somehow that money was just going to protect him. And I'm sure that maybe he had inadvertently had his enablers, because I mean, to give people a break, I mean, when somebody turns up using hard drugs, I mean, they don't know what to do. All they've had to do is deal with drinkers. I mean, basically, that's it. So, going on to today's world, the Lovers in reverse. Okay, so we got the Lovers in reverse, and which is interesting because this is coming right below the Devil in reverse. And I do believe this is true, but many readers feel that the Devil is the flip side of the Lovers, where they're bound together with the codependence. But here the Lovers, they're very close in meaning, I will say that. But I would say that it's probably the inability for him to connect with his own family and other people that are relatively sane. And so there is a disconnect, a feeling of miscommunication. I will say that he loved his role probably as this is what I'm picking up from his energy. He loved his role as being the drug addict, womanizer, yada, 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 all of this stuff, and the attention that it got him. But it's not like the kind of attention that really goes great in that family. So there is a disconnect and kind of like a compensation for some kind of communication. This is a really sad tale, I have to say that. So coming up in the near future, so this is a way that he can still be the family rebel, but now he's got a cabinet position for that, and he can sort of thumb his nose at them. We're not looking at the most mature things. So in the near future, we've got the Two of, wow, lots of cards in reverse. Wow, Two of Cups in reverse. So this is really interesting with the caduceus, the symbol of the medical thing, is that he is not aligned with any kind of medical science whatsoever. We've got the cups in reverse, which is telling me that I really think that addiction messed him, it really, really messed him up, and has really damaged the part of his brain that knows reason and that sort of thing. Now, I mean, I can understand the red dyes, or this or that. I mean, it's not all bad with him, but all the other stuff is not based on any kind of medical science whatsoever. Then we have the cups in reverse, which is telling me that addiction, this is a psychic feeling I've gotten, of course for entertainment purposes only, is that I really feel as though as this administration hits the skids, and it's just hasn't been looking so good lately, that I'm not going to say he's going to relapse, but I'm going to say he's putting himself in a very vulnerable position for relapse. Then there is that, here we've got the little snaky things. And, that's also about that brain worm that probably had a snack or two off of his gray matter. So this is not looking good. So he's very, very vulnerable to having a relapse, and that's been kind of in the back of my mind. So I'm going to the other deck. I'm being called to go to the other deck. So in the more distant future, we have the King of Swords here. I don't think that's him. I get a sense that there may be some old legal business from his past that may come back to haunt him, and could prove to be embarrassing. A lot, not like they have a capacity for that, for the administration. So I don't know if it has to do with an ex-wife or an old drug thing or something, but there is something that could be coming up that could be problematic in this respect. So, in the outcome of this, we have the King of Wands in reverse. What I'm seeing is that there could be a loss of power with him, but this also represents his, as I've said, royalty with the wands in reverse. It is about infidelity, and I will say that there may be something with an ex-wife or something like that, with something to do with this infidelity, which I will say that it's not that everyone that cheats has substance abuse problems, that it runs absolutely rampant in that world, which is also saying that he may prove to not be very faithful in doing what's best for the American people, and it's an abuse of power. So let's see, hopes and fear time. Hopes and fear. Oh, here we go again. Yes, he's hoping he can still play God, and a lot of it is with the doling of the money and withholding the money. But the fear is also that with his really bad judgment, there could be consequences, which is interesting because this is kind of leading us into the next portion about the if there's going to be another pandemic, or are we flirting with another pandemic. So I would say the lesson to be learned in all of this for all of us is that we've kind of limped back from COVID, the worst of it, but it's really hard since we don't know. If so, and this is interesting, I love how this leads into the next reading, is that we may not come out of it so well this time. That we've all been, most of us have been kind of picking ourselves up and moving on and going to the doctor to see, getting tested to see what we can do from what this disease has done. But we don't know if we've got another, recovery in, because because he's in such denial about this, and that really goes. That's why I do feel concerned about his addiction thing, because when somebody's in that much denial, and it affects other people's lives, it's very concerning, because that it's not only with us, but that if something like that happens, his chance of putting a spike back in his arm, it increases, because that's how he learned how to deal with stress in the past. I guess in recent years it's been more cheating on his wife and doing weird things with animals or something like that. But as I say, junkies are, they're kind of an odd group. Is that they do their relapse. They do have a lot of relapses. So, and it's very concerning to have somebody like that, in charge of the nation's health, and with all of his very bizarre theories. And the thing is that there are a lot of people that think he's just great. Some of them I've finally had to unfriend and block from Facebook. Some I know personally, because it's just so crazy. I can't, and people that should know better too. That it's just it's like totally insane. So I want to see if we're flirting, and we know how badly the last one was mismanaged. And the thing is that this is a milestone. This is everybody, I'm sure, like on Facebook. I know I'm not the only one that when we go scroll through the memories, we go back to 5 years ago to see where we were at, which was lockdown and not being able to get certain things at the store and all this sort of thing. So that this is very concerning, because it is. I mean, it's hard to believe it's been 5 years. A lot of us had to cancel certain plans that we made, and people, had to work at home or actually be in jobs where they couldn't and risk their lives and all this sort of thing. So all these memories are coming back too. So that's why to think that we could have another one of these when they don't do anything it's very frightening. So I'm going to do a few cards. Let's see. Are we flirting with another pandemic? So let's see. Put this down a little bit. Okay, so then we have here as the Four of Pentacles in reverse. So that is upright. That is about really hanging on to money, to ideas, to the point where it's obsessive. I would say that in reverse, that it's all about, there are some things we need to hang on to a little bit, and that we're not. It's kind of like throwing caution to the wind. It's the flip side of that, which is not a good thing at all. So we got this. And then Eight of Cups. Okay. In the past, the Eight of Cups is walking away. We all got really tired. So we've kind of walked away and gotten careless, and I hate to say it, that's probably how I got COVID again. Doing a psychic fair in a hotel ballroom and not wearing a mask. Won't do that again. And then, okay, so aces are usually yes. I'm going to say yes, the truth is going to come out. And it's going to come out when we see a lot of people getting sick. So this is kind of what we can see in the future. So down below, we've had the moon in reverse, and that's um, all of the that's it just is not a pleasant thing. It's like we don't want to go back to what we went through 5 years ago and go back to, because being shut in, you are forced to look at your old demons and that sort of thing. So then we've got this whole thing that people are fearful of having to go back to that again. Now let's see what we got here. And the King of Cups. What this is saying, that it's very likely, we may not want to admit it, it's very likely that with people getting sick and seeing the truth of the Ace of Swords, we've got the King of Cups, and he is that was our old card for Biden. But what I see is that this guy is his throne is on the sea, which is telling me there is a leader across, because we're not going to find it here. There is a leader across the ocean, maybe in some European country, that will be giving us information that, as if something starts spreading in Europe, and I understand there's Ebola going around Africa again. I mean, it's scary that we will be getting our information from overseas, and that there will be pressure. There will be a lot of pressure put on this government and on Junior to give us some more information. So let's see what we got here. Okay. This is a scary card to me, because this is all about being insulated from the rest of the world and living it. Because I will say this, and this could be the contagious thing of Junior's denial about this, putting people in a kind of complacent, smug, big thing of denial, which is very, very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing. So I'm going to see one more card to kind of finish this thing off, and then we have King of Pentacles in reverse. This is telling me that it's very possible that we could be, and the problem is that he'll be just as bad. The the new nickname is Donnie Tantrum. Will be looking at his bottom line, and that people having to stay in and be sick is not going to be putting any money in his pocket, so that we will have to deal with this sort of thing and do our own homework and look outside the U.S. to see what's really going on. So this isn't looking very good. I do have to say that it's not looking very good at all. Ooh, it's just okay. At least I didn't drop my card. So what I haven't done in a while is I brought out an oracle card. So the last thing is, what is going to be the long-term consequences of this, as I shuffle these up the best that I can? So I'm feeling drawn to picking an oracle card to see. That's a pretty big question about the long term, because right now whether it's going to be, if we have another pandemic, I don't know if it's going to be on the scale bigger or smaller than the last one. I would say it could be serious, whether it may not be as big as the one we had 5 years ago, but it could be serious. And then we've got the Joker. a clown in charge of our health. So I think what this is saying, we're really going to have to dig and do our own homework. And I did discover that the AMA has a channel on YouTube, and they're pretty much keeping us up to date on that. So I would say that, and see what's going on overseas. I mean, I've got a lot of friends, a lot of whom I know personally from studying at the Arthur Findlay School of Psychic Studies, that they keep me pretty informed as to what's going on, and I'm sure that if there's things spreading through England or Ireland or the Netherlands, they will be letting us know. So let's see, I'm going to pull a card for the long-term consequences and then draw some tarot over that. So we have, interesting, this is love. I would say that we need to be good to ourselves and good to each other. I think this is what's saying that in the end, I think in fact, I remember I had a neighbor in New York who had a store that was called Love Saves the Day, and I always loved that title, and I think she's now in spirit, but I think she was very right about that can save the day, and that we can transcend all of this craziness. And I think what it's talking about is checking in on people. I mean, I live alone, and I have friends that do check in on me if I have been a little bit solitary and remiss in getting in touch with people. I have people that do check with me, and I do the same. It's doing that and doing things for people. I think that can probably beat down the negativity that seems to come along with this. So I think that's the overriding energy of this. Okay, and then we have, so let's see what the long-term consequences. We have the Nine of Pentacles, which is, I think it's, what this is saying, that the rich are going to rich, and they're making a very big mistake by isolating themselves from us. But what this also tells me, it brings up a very good point. We were talking about the whole Luigi thing, and that nothing like that has happened. And what I've said is that these insurance CEOs are so scared, they've really isolated themselves in their homes. They're not going out to, I don't think they're going out to galas and this and that, or even going out to get a cup of coffee, because of the great fear. So they're all, locked in their little walls in their ivory tower. So there will be more of that. I think that's what's happening. There will be more of that as, if we have an epidemic or a pandemic, because people are going to have more of resentment of these people. Let's see what we have here. Then we have the King of Swords. So this is another negative aspect of the one who thinks he's king. He's going to keep lying. Long term, he'll keep lying and tell us there's nothing the matter. And then I think as people start to get sick and dying, that I should think that there will be more disenchantment, as if there isn't enough already. Ace of Wands. The truth will come out, though. The truth will come out, and when it does, it will catch fire and it will blossom. So this is it'll be a very big impact. It may cause it may force a big change in our healthcare system, which I thought maybe that the last one began. So I'll use some of these cards now, and then we have the Eight of Cups in reverse. As much as we'd like to walk away from this and tell ourselves the same BS would that I think mostly people in Florida did 5 years ago, that it's not real, it doesn't affect us. The guy's still in reverse, he's stuck, he really can't walk away. So this is maybe going to make people deal with the denial they have over this. And then what do we have here? There's going to have to be some heartbreak. There's going to have to be some heartbreak and betrayals for us to get to the point where it's so painful we have no choice but to deal with it and to heal from it. So it does look as though there could be something serious down the pike thanks to this very, very bad appointment. So I want to see if I can get a concluding card here. Oh, here we go. Perfect one. It's kind of interesting because this puts a bookend, because I did choose, for the thumbnail, RFK Jr. falling out of the tower. And that's telling me that that in a couple of ways this is interesting, that there could be a disaster that will force, because what the important thing about the tower is destroyed. It does clear the way for something new to replace it. And what could happen is that if our health system, which still hasn't recovered quite from the last one, has more stress put upon it, the system could break down, and we could have to have a whole new system, which means that every other industrialized country except for us has, with this could be the end of insurance companies as we know it too. Can't imagine, even though with billions of dollars, what is the fun of having billions of dollars if you have to stay inside the penthouse and not even be able to go out and walk the dog? That's not the great. And that really is that's a real Nine of Pentacles kind of thing. It's they're trapped in their gilded cages ever since their photos went up in the New York subway system. So at any rate, I think to pretty much conclude this reading, I think which began with the tower and ends with the tower, is that because of the denial and the dysfunction of Kennedy, and the fact that if things get tough, we have to, I'm not saying he's going to, but what we have to worry about, is he going to use again? If the going gets, because he's never had a position like this before. And too many times in meetings, I've seen people like decades of being clean and sober, where something can happen and it all falls apart, especially with the heroin addicts. Alcoholics are vulnerable, but heroin addicts are really super, super vulnerable. I've heard too many stories in those rooms, and that, I can say for entertainment purposes only, but I can tell you from personal experience in hearing those stories, I know how vulnerable that set of substance abusers are. So it's not really a great idea to have one of those. I wish him the best, and hope he can stay clean, but he certainly is not fit to be running our health system. So just like so many other things, is that there's probably going to need to be a crisis to bring about some change. So at any rate, that's what we have to look forward. So I can say, you just take care of yourself, and when you go out, you just have to go back to 2020 and put on a mask and do all the other stuff just to take care of yourself. So with that, I will now say goodbye, and I'll see you soon. Bye.